everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really fun video where I'm going to be talking about some binge-worthy series that follow like the same couple, and they're just very addictive and very hard to put down. So I'm really excited. I had a really fun time putting together this list. These are some books that I feel like are actually underrated as well. So if you haven't heard of them, pick one up. And if you have heard of them but haven't picked it up, this is your sign to pick them up. Before we dive into the books that I want to talk about in this video, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that's Ava Miles. When I received it, I was like, this actually sounds really fun. One, because it's a pink cover. You guys know me, I love a pink cover. I'm all about those pink covers. It's just my aesthetic. But also, this book has a main male character who's actually a lawyer. So the whole premise of this book is our female character, she is just living her day-to-day life in the US. She gets a call that the person that she and a bunch of other roommates spent a whole year with in Paris is really sick. So they all decide to go back to Paris and make sure that the restaurant that she has is still thriving and kind of like spruce it up and stuff like that. So they all go back together. So it's like group of friends that all kind of like catch up together in Paris. When she goes there, she meets her host mother, they call her nanny, her lawyer, and she starts to fall in love with him. And if you know me, lawyer romances are some of my favorite things to read. I don't know. I really love it. That's just my thing, probably because I was a paralegal for so many years and I love reading them. I think this book sounds so good. So I think that if you love kind of a contemporary, easy breezy romance where you dive into this world where this female character who's living her day-to-day life goes on this adventure back to Paris where she just had one of like the best years of her life, and she gets a makeover from one of her friends, and then she falls in love, but then she is torn between leaving the love of her life and going back to the United States because she gets this once of a lifetime opportunity. I just think that sounds amazing. So definitely go check out this new release. I'll have the link in the description box below where you can go check it out. Let me know in the comments down below if you're going to pick it up. I would love to know. With all that being said, let's just go ahead and dive into the books that I've talked about for today's video. The first one is I think it's the first 3 books in a series, and the first book is called Wicked Night by Tracy Lorraine. So when I first picked this book up, I was like, let's just see like how I feel about it, right? I've never read anything by Tracy Lorraine, but I was immediately hooked by these characters. So if you're looking for something pretty dark, but also at the same time with a very like alpha hole protective hero, it has a little bit of a bully aspect in the first book. But you kind of see that they meet in this very weird way, and he starts to have like these feelings for her, but he's like trying to get this like revenge on her. I feel like I'm not explaining this right off the bat. Oh my God. Anyway, they are 18. I think they're 17 or 18. They all go to the same school. It's like a group of friends. So the series is like 15 books long, but the first 3 books follow the same couple. There is a prequel novella. So if you want to like dip your toe into it, but not like commit to a full book, you can. I read the novella and it just gives a little bit of context to the first book. So it's worth the read, I would say, but I really enjoyed this. I don't know. I just felt like the first 3 books don't really feel like 3 separate books. It obviously is just one story, and they're kind of long. They're each full-length books, but I had no problem with that. I just ate those 3 books up. I loved the dynamic between both the characters. While the female character, sometimes with bully romances, they can like take a step back and be like kind of meek and stuff like that. She is not. She is not a meek female character. She is very much an equal to him and will butt heads with him at any chance that she could, because she's like, I'm not going to back down to him. Not going to happen. No, sirree, not going to happen. So I loved it. It was such a good time. And I think I devoured those 3 books in like 2 days, maybe 3 at the max. And that's including the novella. So technically like 3.5 books technically. So highly suggest that one if you're looking for something good and just very dark. Another series I want to share is the Stay With Me series by Nicole Fiorna. I have talked about this series previously, but it is one that I love. I reread it, and I feel like when I reread it, I had like a deeper appreciation, and I actually could rank my favorite books in the series. Now all 3 of these books follow the same couple. They meet when they're in this mental institution. She is sent from the United States to England, and she is there because she tried to commit suicide, and instead of like putting her in jail because she also like stole a car and all this stuff like that. They're like, hey, we're gonna put you in this mental institution where you can finish up school, you can still graduate. It's kind of like a college school where you can like get a degree still, but you're under like medical watch too. So like everyone that's there has something, some type of mental illness or something that they're dealing with, and it's like they need kind of that supervision. And Mia and Oliver have this very, very, very deep connection right off the bat, and they are polar opposites. He feels everything, she feels nothing. So their story goes on. I want to say it's years that it goes over the 3 books. It takes place over years. I think Nicole Fiona wrote it really, really well, where you have this mental health aspect that is obviously a big part of the book and it is really important, but also you have this like very intimate romance between them and how they kind of lean on each other when they feel like no one else really understands them. It was good. I liked it. The side characters make for a very good and dramatic story as well. So if you're looking for another, like, I just can't stop reading each book, this series is it too, because they all end on a cliffhanger. Another series that I recently read is The Carter Kids by Chloe Walsh. So the first book is Treacherous. So technically there's 6 books in the series. The first 4 books all follow the same couple. And then the 4th book actually has the point of view of the female character of the last 2 books. So that's a different couple. But Chloe Walsh does a really good job of like bridging the gap because you do get their point of view in the 4th book. This is a toxic, angsty, hate to love, enemies to lovers romance. Our main male character, Noah, he is an underground MMA fighter. You see him in this book in Treacherous. He is just finishing up high school. And our female character, she moves from Ireland to the United States to stay with her uncle. And that's where she meets Noah. They have like a one moment at the beginning where they like meet because they're next door neighbors. But that is like broken by his stepsister. And the stepsister just makes her life a living hell. So in turn, she doesn't like him as well because they all like, that's his stepsister, right? But they're forced together for certain reasons, I will say, and it just turns into toxic and angsty and messy. And the second book gets even more messy and even more toxic. And then the 3rd book, you're like, oh, they're finally together. This is great. It's going to end up great. Nope, it gets even worse. Like they're thrown all of these different things that they're forced to work through. And the 4th book is kind of like they're like, okay, we can finally work out things. Like, we're not as toxic and angsty and messy as we were. I mean, they still are, but, you know, it gets a little break. But they're all in on cliffhangers, and I could not stop reading. The first 3 on Hoopla, so I would definitely check out to see if your Hoopla has the audiobooks, because they're very, very good. The next series I want to talk about is the new Camelot series by Sarah Simone. So I've recently read these. Was it this year? I did not read these this year. Last year? I think I read them last year, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I devoured this. So if you are someone who, like me, kind of likes a little bit of political aspect, like, for example, if you liked Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, because they're both, like, he's the son of the president of the United States, and the other character is the son of, like, a monarchy in England, I think you're really gonna love this. While Sarah Simone brings her spicy, taboo forbiddenness in this series, it takes a very different spin. So it's MMM, it's polyamorous, I will say that. Now, you're gonna go through a journey during the 3 books. The HEA is in the 3rd book, I will say that. You do get HEA in the 3rd book. Just want to put that out there. But basically, it is the president of the United States and his wife and the vice president of the United States. And they all have this very interconnected, entangled past that you're like, oh my God, could it get any more messy? Do you know what I mean? Like, it just is... It is crazy and it is bananas, and it is probably one of the wildest trilogies I've read, but I absolutely adored it. Like, Sarah Simone, I'm a big fan of Sarah Simone's writing. She can just write in a way that gives you like a very good spicy romance, but at the same time, she makes you think. Like, you always take something like out of it besides the romance, and I love that. Like, every series I've ever read by her does that. I plan to read Salt Kiss, and I'm really excited for that because I'm just like, oh, it's going to be another one of those like good start to her series that I'm just going to devour. So definitely check out the new Camelot series if you haven't already. The next series I want to talk about is the Ravenhood series by Kate Stewart. So I have talked about this previously. I feel like a lot of people have read it, but I want to mention it just in case for those people who have not. So I have the rest of the Ravenhood series actually right here. I just had this book out because I filmed a video, and this is the second book. So the first book is Flock by Kate Stewart. The second book is Exodus, and the 3rd book is The Finish Line. This series is very hard to tell a synopsis for the whole series. You do get an HEA. It is at the end of the third book. Once again, it's at the end of the third book. Our female character, she goes on this very huge self-discovering journey within herself, and that takes place over 3 books, and she meets different men at different points of her life, and they all mean different things to her at that time. So it's very interesting. It is very emotional, just say that, but it's a fun time, and I think that this probably is another unique series that I haven't read another series similar to it, so check it out if you would like to. Want to throw this one out there. And the last book I have to talk about is The Enslaved Duet by Gianna Darling. So while this is 2 books, it is a very long. These are both books combined. This is a bind up of it. This is a super dark romance. There's a lot of triggers, so I'm putting it last because I think that not everyone is going to enjoy this. But if you're looking for something super dark, super forbidden, very much a hate to love, very much you have to trust the author that she's going to give you the HEA at the end of the book and you're going to believe that they're in love, because at first I didn't. The first book I was like, I don't know how they're going to like take over and make this into a happily ever after. Like, I don't know how Gianna was going to do it, but our main male character actually is sold, the female character, and he takes her as like basically captive. So it's captive romance, and he does kind of like these crazy unspeakable things. It's not as dark as some other books that I've read, but it is up there with one of the darkest books, just because it is like a dark captive book. But I really enjoyed the journey that they go on, because they learn things about themselves. Specifically, Alexander, he is a very multi-layered character, and I feel like even reading through it once, you're not going to fully understand him as a main male character. And I want to go back and reread it. You have to be in the right mindset for it, but I would highly suggest it if you are a dark romance reader and you haven't read this. I think it's an underrated book by Gianna. It's just a great duet. But those are all of the binge-worthy romance series that I have to share with you. You can let me know if you have any recommendations for me in the comments down below. Drop me what kind of emoji? Drop me the nail emoji, because I think my nails are absolutely amazing. They're giving witchy vibes and I love it. So drop me the nail emoji in the comments down below. Make sure you go pick up the Paris Roommates. I'll have the link in the description box below. It is her new release, and I think that everyone should read it. And that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.